Now, guys, we are going to talk about Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. This is called what? FCPA. Shortcut. Okay. Please remember, let me tell you, this act is going to deal with corrupt payments. To deal with corrupt payments. But please remember, we are not required to study the whole act being a CMA student. If you want to study the whole act, then you should stop CMA part 1 and look for the act book. Okay, so here just being a student, we need to get the main idea of FCPA, what is Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. So let me explain. So I'll explain first. Very first thing I want to explain that what is the corrupt payment. Then because it is my sequence to teach, book sequence is different. So first understand what does mean by corrupt payment. First I'll explain what is the corrupt payment, what it is, what is corrupt payment. Then I'll explain who should not make these corrupt payment, who should not make. I'll answer in this way. Then to whom we should not make, we should not make the payments. And then we'll see some main provisions of the act. And then we'll talk about something about penalties of the act. That's it. These 5 questions we will answer. This topic will be covered and easily you can answer the question. So first I'm dealing what is the corrupt payment. So corrupt payment means what, guys? Please remember here. Corrupt payments, it is law language, it is tricky to understand. So corrupt payments are payments for the purpose of inducing the recipient to act or refrain from acting so that domestic concern might obtain or retain business. So see, it's really technical language. So what they're saying it is the payment for the purpose of inducing the recipient to act or refraining from acting. Let me give you example here. For example, I am making payments. Maybe let's assume you are foreign officials. Let's assume. Okay, foreign officials. I'm making payment to you. Okay, it's like a bribe. I'm making bribe to you because maybe I want you to do something illegal for me. That's why I'm offering you bribe. Or maybe I want you to stop not to do something which is legal. See, I'm saying same thing. Actually, I'm forcing you to do negative things in one word. Negative things, but I said my statement 2 ways. First thing, I'm giving you this bribe because I want you to do a favor to me in illegal way. Or you should do something illegal for me. Or I want you to do not to do legal thing. For example, maybe let's assume, I'm doing smuggling, let's assume, and I'm requesting you don't catch me. So it means I'm stopping you not to do legal thing. Right or wrong? So if you are making any bribe, okay, to whom you are making this, I'll answer later. If you're making any bribe payments, even you're just offering bribe, right? And you are trying to affect the recipient, okay, to do something illegal or not to do something which is legal. Understood? So what? Okay, why I'm making these payments? Because I want maybe to retain my business, or maybe I want to get some illegal benefits, or maybe I want to get some extra favor. Right or wrong? So this is called this is the definition of corrupt payment. Now the point is that please remember. So because they are saying why we are making this payment, because maybe domestic concern, this is the word we have to understand. Domestic concern might obtain or retain business. Maybe I will get some business. I'll retain my business. For example, I'm just giving example. Maybe it's not relevant. Maybe I'm selling expired medicines. Okay, you are the inspector. I'm making you bribe. Please don't stop. Okay, I want to do this business. So this is also kind of corrupt payment, but it is not fit in exactly in the definition to whom we are making. That I'll answer later. Understood? So corrupt payment is what? You are simply making or you are offering bribe. Right or wrong? And you want to influence the receiver. Because maybe you want to get business and maybe you want to retain business. This is the definition of what? Corrupt payment. Now look at here. These points are really important. FCPA. FCPA stands for Foreign Corrupt Practices. Prohibits a mere offer. You cannot even offer. For example, I'm saying that I'm offering you this, please give me this favor. Right or wrong? I'm offering you bribe. Even this offer is not allowed. Even what is written, they're saying FCPA prohibits a mere offer or promise of a bribe. Okay, even it is not consummated. Even it is not, consummated means we didn't actually read it, but I just offer you, please give me this favor, right or wrong? So this just offer is also prohibited. If they will catch you, there is a fine and imprisonment. Okay, so then what is the next point? Here, what point you have to remember? Mere offer is also prohibited. Promise for the bribe is also prohibited, even it is not consummated. Then what is next point you have to remember? The FCPA prohibits payment of anything of value except for de minimis gifts, example tokens or hospitality. Maybe if some people are foreign officials, maybe because I'm using word intentionally foreign officials, I'll explain later. Maybe foreign officials are in your country where you're living, maybe you are providing hospitality, etc. They are staying with you, this is not prohibited. But if you're giving something in value, which is big value, okay, or which can influence the receiver, that is prohibited. Understood? Then payments are prohibited. This is very clear statement. You are saying if you are making any payments to anyone, and it will affect the receiver, he will give you unfavor, he will give you out of the way favors, right? So if you are making payment with this intention, that is prohibited. So they are saying that payments are prohibited if the person making them knew, person who is making the bribe, who is making the bribe offer, he knew that or should have known that some or all of them would be used to influence the governmental official. Like you're giving, for example, you are giving Lamborghini car to some government officials. So what do you think if later on you will call him, sir, I need this favor, he will not give you? Obviously, he will give you because you gave this much expensive gift to him, right? Right or wrong? That is why, they are saying it is prohibited. If you're making any bribe offer or you're giving any gift and it will affect the receiver, so then it is prohibited. Understood? Now this is called what? Corrupt payment. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now second question I'll tell you here, please. Also remember here, these things are not corrupt payment. First, they try to define what are the corrupt payments. Corrupt payment is in single sentence, how you can say, if you feel this will affect the receiver, he will do something illegal for you, and you may stop him not to do something legal also, right? So that is called corrupt payment. Even just offer is also prohibited. Only promise is also prohibited. Now the point is that they're trying to make it clear here. So they're saying these are not the corrupt payments. Okay, for example, they're saying only political payments to foreign government officials are prohibited. Okay. Otherwise, I'll explain this later. Let me cover another word first, because here some points are relevant to that. So here we go, coming back to the definition. You understood corrupt payment? Now point is that who should not make corrupt payment? Here word is used. They use the word what? Domestic. Yeah. So my first question was, what is corrupt payment? That is defined. My second question is, who should not make corrupt payment? Who should not make? Actually, the domestic concern should not make corrupt payment. So domestic concern means say what? This is actually my simple philosophy to explain this point. Domestic concern, what does mean by domestic concern? Actually, domestic concern means a note. This act is applicable on domestic concern. Domestic concern means say all USA nationals, either living in USA or abroad. But if they're USA nationals, this act is applicable on them. Then all USA companies, US-based companies, either operating nationally or internationally, this act is applicable on them also. Understood? Then then 33rd line, all foreign individuals but living in USA, this act is applicable on them also. Then all foreign companies are foreign, but they are operating within the boundaries of USA, it is applicable on them. It means in shortcut, if anyone is living in USA, even he is foreigner, it is applicable on them, right? Or any USA national, even is living in USA or outside the USA, this act is applicable on them. This is called what? Domestic concern. Actually, these people should not make corrupt payment. Now, the third question is, to whom we should not make payment? To whom? So, this is the answer here. We should not make these corrupt payments to whom? To the foreign officials. For example, maybe in UAE, we are living in UAE. So we have so many embassies. Diplomatic staff is here. Maybe I'm just making some corrupt payment to consulate of any specific country. Maybe I want to get business in his country. Right or wrong? So these are foreign officials now, right? Here these are foreign officials. We should not make payments to the foreign officials. Number two is what? Foreign political party. For example, you are a rich person, US national person, you are just maybe financing some political party in India or in Pakistan because you want to take benefits later. Right or wrong? So this is also corrupt payment. So corrupt payment should not make to the foreign official or to the foreign political party. That is what? Candidate for political office in the foreign country. Any candidate who is for political office in the foreign country, candidate for political office in foreign country. For example, a UAE person, obviously UAE is having embassies in different countries, so their candidates are sitting there also, right? So we cannot make any payments to them also. So what is written here? We cannot make corrupt payments to foreign officials, foreign political party, and candidate for the foreign political office. So we cannot make these payment to them. Three questions are answered. What is corrupt payment? We should not make. To whom we should not make. Then fourth question is, okay, let me read the note now. This note I skipped. Now, guys, I'm explaining here this node which I skipped previously. Node. This point now you will understand. They're saying only political payments for foreign government officials are prohibited. Like if you're making any, as I told you, to foreign officials, to political party, or a candidate for the foreign political office, you should not make payments. Now, this is the point here. Payments to foreign business owners or corporate officers are not addressed by FCP. For example, in USA, there's Indian-based companies there. People are working there. Maybe owner is living in India. So companies earning profit there, and he want to send money to the owners or to the directors. That is not corrupt payment. Understood? You understood what I said?
No, sir.
I'm saying, for example, you are from India, right? So you started business in USA. You invested there, so there you are earning profit now. So now you want to take the share of profit. They are sending to you in India, so that is not a corrupt payment, right?
Yes.
So that is what they are saying. Payments to a foreign business owners or corporate officers are not addressed by FCP. There could be some restrictions on that, but that is not dealt by FCP. Then what? Foreign officials do not include clerical or ministerial employees. As I gave you example, foreign official, I gave you example of embassy here. But they are saying these, not these people. There could be other foreign officials. Understood? So they're saying foreign officials do not include clerical or ministerial employees. You may have other foreign officials, maybe the people from the political parties, right or wrong, representative of the political parties. But I give you example for ministry and etc. just to make it clear. Then they are saying that foreign officials do not include what clerical or ministerial employees. So what is the point here? They're saying example, payment made to clerk to expedite the processing of goods through custom may not be prohibited by act. You are making, maybe for example, on custom they are saying if you want the clearance of container quickly, you have to pay this much extra payment, and you are paying according to the law. So this is not a corrupt payment. Right or wrong? Maybe you applied for renewal of passport. They told you normal you will get in 30 days, but if you want to get in 3 days, you have to pay this much extra. This is not going to be a corrupt payment. Understood? Then what they're saying, such payments are not prohibited as long as the recipient has no discretion in carrying out the governmental function, because this fees is decided by government. If he is getting some extra money, obviously, so it is not based on his choice. It is decided by the government. So that is why it is not a corrupt payment. Then payments that are allowed under written law of the foreign country are also not prohibited. Only corrupt payments are prohibited if you want to take illegal benefits. Understood?
So what do you mean by only political payments?
Political payments, like, sometimes we fund the political parties because we take the benefits, right? Later on. Maybe, for example, you are financing one political party in another country. Maybe once they will be in power, so you can start a business there, you can take so many benefits from them. So that's why their main focus on political parties. Understood?
Yes.
Then what we have here, so now we have here, I have already explained what I have explained. What is corrupt payment? I have explained. To who should not pay? I have explained. To whom we should not pay, and what, and I have also explained what is not included in corrupt payment.
Corrupt payments.
Okay, now I'm answering next question. Okay, what are the requirements of act which are applicable on companies? That's it. Because we are talking about governance. That's why it's linked with the governance. Understood? So what is the act? What are the requirement of act? Number one is what? Accounting records. They are saying it's a requirement of Foreign Corrupt Practice Act for each money, whatever dollar you are spending, okay, anywhere. So you have to keep a record for that. Like from where you got this money and where you dumped this money. Right or wrong? Or where you expended this money. You have to keep a record for that. So this is the requirement of FCPA. If you will go through, I told you shortcut. What is the requirement of FCPA? Keep the record for transactions. Understood? This is what? They're saying accounting records first law provision, regardless of whether they have foreign operation. All public companies must make and keep books, records, and accounts in reasonable detail that accurately and fairly reflect transactions and disposition of assets. Understood? Like from where you are getting resource, where you are dumping, so you must have a record for that. This is the requirement of FCPA. Otherwise, maybe, for example, I bought a house here, but I don't have a money trail. I cannot prove from where I got money. It means obviously it is corrupt payment, corruption, bribe. Right or wrong? This is what they are saying. Second is what? Because if I will have a proper record for that, like from where I got, here I dumped. So then, guys, obviously it is not going to be a corrupt payment. Then we have here internal controls. They are saying that, okay, it's not about only recording of transaction. They are saying that you must have a strong internal controls over assets and over transactions. What does mean by here? Look, if you will have a strong internal controls, so internal controls will provide which assurance?
Reasonable.
Not absolutely, because control cannot give you guarantee. It can just mitigate the risk. It cannot eliminate the risk. So controls can give you reasonable assurance, reasonable comfort. Comfort about what? So these are 4 points you have to memorize: 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like what are the requirement of FCPA regarding internal controls? Number 1, FCPA requires that transactions are executed. FCPA requires sound internal controls, and controls will ensure. I'm saying again, FCPA requires what? Strong internal controls within the business, and controls will ensure. What control will ensure? That whatever transactions are executed. For example, if I have made some payments, so that is in accordance with management general or specific authorization. Company gave me the authority to do this or to execute this transaction, and I did it. So control will ensure that transactions are executed as per general or specific authorization. Number 2, transactions are recorded as necessary also, because these transactions will be used to prepare financial statements. Number 1 is what? Transactions are executed as per general specific authority. Number 2, transactions are recorded. Number 3 is what? Access to asset is permitted only in accordance with management general or specific authorization. For example, if I have access to specific cash, okay, so I have access only because it is authorized by management. They know it. Mr. Qasim is having this much money. Right? Next is what? The recorded accountability. They are saying that, okay, not only transaction must be executed as per authority. Okay, then transactions are recorded. Then access to asset is permitted as per authority. They're saying not only this, don't do only this. You have to do another thing also. Do reconciliations period wise. Do reconciliations period wise. Reconciliation means like for example, what actually you have, what's supposed to be you should have, right? What actually you have the difference of these two. You should investigate. For example, if some money is gone, you were expecting money should be 1 million in account, but it is 5 million. So it means there is something suspicious. Investigate it. Or if you were expecting money should be 5 million, so it is 1 million as per accounting record, where 4 million. So you should investigate. This is what they are saying. Number 4, the recorded accountability for asset is compared with the existing assets at reasonable intervals. Understood? So 2 things I told you overall. Accounting records is the requirement of FCPA. Strong internal control is the requirement of FCPA. And in under internal controls, I told you 4 points, right? Like what control will ensure? Control will provide you reasonable assurance or absolute assurance? Reasonable, not absolute. It cannot give you guarantee. And the third requirement of FCPA is what? Code of ethics. They're saying you should communicate to your employees. Like companies must have a code of ethics in writing, like what is allowed, what is not allowed, like list of do's and don'ts. Later on, it must be written and communicated to the employees. Later on, no one can blame, sir, I was not aware with this, that's why I did this mistake. So this is what they're saying, the written code of ethics. Written code of ethics and conduct is a necessity. This code should be communicated to the employees and monitored by internal auditors for compliance that people are following this code of ethics. Now the last point of FCP I'm explaining, that is about what? Penalties for violations. Okay, penalties for violation. So penalties for violation is what? So obviously if you will violate the clauses or the provisions of FCPA, so what is the penalty? So penalty is what? First I'm telling you penalty for what? Individual. If you will violate each clause, one clause. Okay, so they're telling it what is the penalty for individual? The penalties for individual, okay, for each criminal violation is what? Of the corrupt practices, provisions are fine up to what? $100,000 is the fine for each violation. Okay, and or they're using word or. Imprisonment for what?
5 years.
For 5 years. They can put you into jail for 5 years, or it could be what? Both. It is the scene of court. Either he can fine you up to 100,000, or he can put you into jail, or maybe he can do, judge can do both things with you. Imprisonment plus fine. But if this fine is coming on company itself, not on individual, okay, or maybe on company license, not on individual name. If fine is coming on company license, then this would be up to, for each violation, it will be up to not 100, 2 million pound, $2 million.
Yeah.
For each violation, it is going to be $2 million, but obviously they cannot put company license into jail, right? So they will just fine. But for individual, there is a fine and imprisonment jail option. But and both would be both. But for company, fine option is understood. Please, they also are very strict. They are saying, for example, if fine is on the board of director, Mr. A, fine is on Mr. A, then company should not make payment of this fine from his account. No, they're saying individual has to pay this amount from his resources. Company employer will not pay. This is what they're saying. Fine imposed upon what? Individuals may not be paid directly or indirectly by employer. It should not be paid by them. Understood? This was what? Foreign Corrupt Practice Act.